Hello all and welcome to the Mug Life DIY. My name is Julia and I am so glad you decided to stop by my channel where I do all things crafting, mom life, you name it, with a whole bunch of hot glue. So today I am going back to my roots and I have no Valentine's, holidays, Christmas, you name it. It's just my home decor. So my home decor style is very eclectic and bohemian. So if that's what you love or that inspires you, keep on watching. So this first project, we are doing a Dollar Tree makeover or Dollar Tree DIY. I took this Valentine's DIY sign and ripped off all of the front section. And sorry, I just realized I am helping my son with his homework. Hashtag homeschool, hashtag mom life, hashtag a day in the life. Anyways, so yeah, that was like a little side note there. But I ripped off the whole front side, or as much as I could, because I couldn't find my heat gun. So yeah. Then I went ahead and coated it. Actually, I think I just did one coat of my black acrylic paint. Let that dry, set it aside. And as that was drying, I started on to the next part of the sign. So I picked up this love sign. Actually, it was quite a while ago. It was in any time for Valentine's Day. So I think it's just one of their new metal signs that they have started carrying at Dollar Tree. And I just kind of bent back and forth those little circles on top. I guess they're for the hanging, but we're not going to need that. So I just ripped those off. And I'm taking one of my Crafter Square. These are the little cork sheets. I absolutely love them. I've used them in so many projects and I just love the versatility of it. So I grabbed one of those and y'all know me, roughly measured it to fit in the middle section, and then I cut it down and will attach it to the middle of the black sign. Now I'm taking this, I believe it's actually fairly new, this faux leather cord, and I'm going to be doing 3 projects using this cord, or ribbon. I absolutely love it. I found it in a couple of different colors, so hopefully you guys can find this awesome new ribbon, or you can buy some on their website. And I just attached it to the end of the cork just to give this sign a little bit of a thicker dimension in the midsection. Then I took some of the braided, it's like a rope or twine, braided twine. I just all this past week, so absolutely loved that. So I just took some of that and put it in the middle of the faux ribbon. I like adding layers and I really like texture and I like dimension. So just adding layers kind of reminds me of whenever I scrapbook or I make cards. My sister always says, oh, just keep adding. It looks better. Just keep adding. So I'm kind of just going with what aesthetic I like, and I just keep adding the different textures and colors. And I just really love the end result of this project. So you could use whatever ribbon or twine or anything that you had on hand. I just really wanted to use these new things that I got because they just really inspired me to start crafting. So use what you got first. If you don't find it, that's okay. So this cotton yarn, or whatever it's called, I actually picked up at Dollar Tree, and I picked it up in a couple of colors. Now you're like, what are you doing, Julia? Well, I am going to be doing a kind of a drop down sign. I love doing the yarn textures where the things are kind of like very flowy and elegant. I've done so many of these signs. So I'll have one of my other drop downs with the yarn video up in the little card section. But I just took a popsicle stick. This is the easiest way for me to do any of these. I will take different ribbon, different yarn, twine, whatever I have on hand, and I actually glue them down to the popsicle stick. So I do a little bit of dab of glue and then I cut them down and then I attach them. And I'm going to do 2 of the Dollar Tree jumbo popsicle sticks on, it'll be the middle section underneath of that cork. So you're just gonna wanna measure it. Well, you're going to want to cut it down, but I did not measure. I will be cutting it kind of visually once I hang up my sign. You can do however you would want to do. If you would want to measure all of them precisely, that's just not how I specifically craft. Now, once I have both of the popsicle sticks glued down, I just flip it over and I'm going to be hot gluing our love sign to the middle section over the cork. Now, hindsight, I might go back with some super glue, but I was just, I don't know, rushing like usual, and I glued it down that way. So you can do whichever way you prefer to do. And then I'm just going to add some of that same braided jute ribbon, whatever we want to call it, as my hanging section for my sign. And of course, I didn't quite like that blank space on both sides, so I just added some of that matching white yarn and hot glued it to the back section. And here you go. Here is the finished love project, which it's totally has that bohemian eclectic vibe, which I love. Now I did add some of my golden feathers, which I had in my craft stash, and I just love how that kind of popped at the end. I absolutely love this project. This is going to be a year-round project that I have hanging in my home. And if you're coming over from my Instagram, my reel that I just did on this one, I would love to know about it. Let me know down in the comments below. So we're going to dive right into project 2. This one is going to be a recycling project, which I kept this specific bottle because I love the color. I love this green. I have done several projects with bottles, so I cleaned it up with some Goo Gone, took off the front and back stickers, and began trimming off that little top section of the bottle. And first I just used my X-Acto knife, and then I just kind of slowly cut around with my scissors and evened it out the best that I could. I have seen, but I have not personally tried it out yet, some YouTubers using an iron to kind of smooth that top section. I don't know how I feel about melting the plastic with my iron. I'm not sure. Let me know if you have ever tried that before. I might try it outside in my garage, or just not sure. So I am going to be taking that same faux leather ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to measure 2 little sections for the top and the bottom. Then, this is probably my favorite part. I'm going to be making little handles, kind of like little pull tab handles that I'm going to attach to the side section. So what I began doing first was folding it over and then pushing down with my hole puncher. Now, I knew I wouldn't be able to actually push down both sections at once, so I just kind of made an impression. Then I just pushed through with my hole puncher. Then I'm going to take my scissors and kind of cut it off because this hole puncher is so old, it's definitely dull. I wish I could sharpen it somehow. I have heard you could use aluminum foil and hole puncture that and it sharpens it, but I haven't personally tried that. So I don't know. I might buy a new one, but I would prefer if I could sharpen it just so I don't have to buy something else brand new. So I did 2 hole punctures to my little bottle, and we are going to put the brad nails through that. But first I'm going to just lightly glue. Now what I like to do is I turn off my glue gun to do a really low setting for the plastic because my glue gun is a high temp glue. It burns and melts away plastic really easily. So I do a low temperature and glue it that way. Now I'm going to be attaching those little handles with the little brad nails and just pushing it through the holes that I made and then separating it. So it kind of looks like it's a little leather pull tab and it's hanging. It's super fun. So I hope you guys are inspired by this little faux leather ribbon, and I hope you guys can find it. It took me several Dollar Trees to actually find it, but I did eventually find it, and I adore all of the colors that I found. We're going to attach the bottom little ribbon the exact same way that we did to the top. I take it onto the seam and then I push it around and glue it down. Now, I wanted my little bottle to actually be a hanging bottle. I'm going to add some plants kind of dangling out of it, and I didn't think of this beforehand. So you can fix my mistake and do this step before you actually push through the little brad nails. So I just glued down a strip of the ribbon and pushed my little handle through it. So it almost looks like this is the handle, it's attached, and this is what it's going to be hanging from. And I plan on making several more of these because I want an entire wall of plants. I would love to do some little air plants, and I just think this will be so gorgeous to do. So I hope you guys are inspired by this fun little upcycling, recycling DIY using literally a couple of items from the Dollar Tree and your recycling bin. And if you haven't already, make sure that you hit that bell icon and you subscribe to my channel if you love all things eclectic, boho, and Dollar Tree DIY. And for our final project 3, we're going to also be taking one of these little Dollar Tree signs. This one I have probably had for a year or more, and it's one of the little cardboard square or rectangular frames, and I just painted that with my acrylic black paint. And I'm taking some of my daughter's little building blocks, which she has lost most of them, and I just decided I'm going to upcycle these for myself, and I painted those black as well. Now we're going to be making the exact same little pools that we did in project number 2. This is I believe it's like the medium leather color versus the second project was a lighter gold leather that I used. I'm going to attach all 4 of my little wooden legs to the corners of my sign because we're going to make a little bit of I guess we're going to call it a tray, or I'm not quite sure what you call these guys, but I wanted a little bit of a height, so that's what the little wooden legs are doing. Now, I am not using brad nails for this one. I'm just using little push pins. Now I left them the little silver push that they were, and I pushed it through the sign. Now I am going to cut off a little bit of that pointed edge because it is a little bit pointy and I don't want to stab myself. So I took some leftover cork from project number 1, and I'm going to be adding that after I snip down that little pointy edge that was showing, and I'm going to add that cork, 1, as a little bit of texture, and 2, to cover up that little hole that it created, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Now I wanted this project to be finished and polished, so I took some of my Dollar Tree bamboo skewers, and I'm going to create a little frame and going around on all 4 of the edges, gluing those bamboo skewers to the top side. And then we're going to take those little pools and you're just going to flip them facing up instead of facing down. I love, love, love how this project turned out. So easy, so simple, and it looks amazing. I'm not quite sure where I want it, so I might be moving this around just to figure out exactly where I want it. But I love that I was able to leave the sides with those organic green leaves, and I think it turned out so good and it was so easy to make. And I really hope you guys enjoyed these 3 home decor projects and that you are inspired to craft and have some fun just being creative. And stay tuned for what I have in store on Friday, which I will be joining in an awesome Twine It Up collab with a few of my friends, which I'll have their little invite video in my description. And I'll see you guys next time.